explain what Forest River is doing differently from Thor, and tell us whether Forest River is accepting lower operating margins than Thor's 7% to gain the share? Does Forest River have any sustainable structural advantages over Thor that will help it maintain its #1 position?
We bought a company called Forest River, run by a fellow named Pete Liegl, I'd say about 10 years ago or so. And it's interesting. Pete was not an MBA type at all. He's a terrific guy. He built up that was not a statement, that was an observation. Pete built up a very successful but much smaller RV business, and he sold it to a private equity firm in the mid-1990s, and they promptly started telling him how to run it, and he very shortly thereafter told them to go to hell, and not very long after that it went broke, which is not an unusual. I would have predicted that. So Pete then bought it out of bankruptcy and rebuilt it, and then came to see me about 10 years ago. And in one afternoon, we went to dinner that night. He brought his wife and his daughter, and we bought the business. And he made me a couple of promises then. He's very limited as promises. I told him what I'd do. And we've lived happily ever after. I've never been to Forest River. It's based in Elkhart, Indiana. I hope it's there. I mean, maybe they're just making up these figures. You know, I can see that. Some guys say, "What figures shall we send Warren this month?" You know, ha ha ha. But Pete does a terrific job of running the company. We made a deal at the time he came on incentive comp and base comp. He's never suggested a change. I've never suggested a change. He's built the company to where it'll do over, I think it'll do over $4 billion of business this year. I've probably had 3 or 4 phone calls with him in the whole time. It's his company, and he does a sensational job. I don't know about the Thor Forest River situation in terms of how tough it is to go in to compete with him. I think it'd be tough to compete with Pete under any circumstances. His IT department for a $4 billion business consists of 6 people. He just knows what's going on in the place. And the important thing is that it's his company. I couldn't run an RV company, and we don't have anybody at headquarters that could run one. It's a tough business, and you do work on narrow margins. To get to your point on that, Johnny, it's a business that runs with maybe 11 or 12% gross margins and probably 5 to 6% of SG&A. So your margins are in that 6 or so percent range. We have a very good, both from his standpoint and from our standpoint, we worked out an incentive comp. Like I say, we worked it out that afternoon in Omaha when he came by. And it's worked for him. It's worked for us. You know, it couldn't be a better arrangement. I wish we had 20 like it, and probably most of our shareholders don't even know we own Forest River. But that is a company that will do $4 billion of business this year, and I'll bet we'll do more business over time. It's a leader in its industry. The industry is not going to go away, and maybe we can even sell a little insurance on RVs. So that's the story on Forest River.